The following presentation shows the draft 2022 budget for the Town of Oliver. The budget is subject to change before second reading on February 17th, 2022. The RDOS Board of Directors encourages you to provide feedback before then. Here's RDOS Manager of Finance, Jim Zaffino.
The following presentation is a high-level overview of the budget, and it's 500 pages, and here it is. To view detailed budgets, please visit the RDOS Regional Connections interactive website. To review any of the slides presented in this video, please hit pause. The following slides provide information about the RDOS Legislative Foundation. Each regional district is a corporation. The RDOS has 9 electoral areas represented by rural directors elected to their position. The 6 municipalities represented on the board appoint their members. Regional districts are not taxing authorities. Regional districts do not tax municipalities. Regional district taxes are based on the services, not the location. Some regional district services are legislated, including general government, solid waste management plans, and E911 telecommunications. Most regional district services are by choice. Property in a rural area will receive their tax notices from the Surveyor of Taxes, and the taxes are paid to the province. The following slides cover taxes. To review any of these slides, please hit pause. The following slides provide information about the RDOS budget structure. A regional district is different than a municipality. Regional districts create a separate budget for every service it operates. For the 2022 budget, the RDOS has 156 separate services and therefore 156 separate budgets. Separate budgets ensure only those who participate in the service pay for the service. The budget process launched in October 2021. The budget includes approved change requests. Budget workshops were held November 5th and 9th, 2021. The provincial legislation requires the budget to be adopted by March 31st, 2022. The following slides provide information about RDOS services. You can hit pause at any time to review the slides. You can also visit RDOS Regional Connections to view detailed budgets. Regional services are services where the majority of the electoral areas and municipalities participate. For regional services, all properties in the municipality and electoral areas contribute. Regional services include heritage, conservation, corporate facilities, legislative services, and regional trails. Rural services are services where the majority of the electoral areas participate. For rural services, all properties in the electoral area contribute. Rural services include animal control, electoral area administration, and planning. Shared services are services where only those participating in the services pay for the shared services. Local services are services where only a defined group of properties within an electoral area participate. Examples include fire protection and water systems. Staff begin building budgets for each service in October. The 2022 budget is prepared along with the additional 4 years. New requests or changes come forward as program change requests. If approved, the item is added into the draft budget. The official title of the draft budget is 2022-2026 5-Year Financial Plan. The board can make changes to the budget up until it is adopted. Feedback from public consultation is presented to the board along with the Budget Bylaw for second and third reading and adoption. By legislation, the budget must be adopted by March 31st, 2022. This information that I'm going to be talking about is for the Town of Oliver. It's a tax requisition for 2022. And when the first slide discusses what the total overall property assessment is for Oliver. In this case, it's 4.83% for 2022. It's slightly lower than the 4.91% for 2021. And what that represents is a total assessment compared to the total regional district as a whole. One other area that I want to discuss is the increase in assessment for the Town of Oliver for 2022, and that's 26.85%. The average for the regional district is 28.89%, so that is less than the average overall, and thus the Town of Oliver will bear a lower overall tax burden for the services that the Oliver participates in. One of the things that has been controversial and talked about by the board is administration overhead, so I thought I'd briefly discuss that. One of the overhead is everything but the wages. It is the support costs that contribute to help run the organization's 156 services. So with human resources, legislative services, finance, corporate services, and information services, that keeps the organization running with the support costs. Biggest single increase for 2022 is and has been the information services to keep up with technology and to make sure that we are prepared for any COVID issues. We do have to buy the software, hardware to keep the organization running, and that means that is funded through the overhead costs. There's two types of change requests. One is a full-time equivalent, which is requesting for additional staff, and the other one is a service level request, which means there'll be different support costs that are attributed directly towards the service. The other program change request would be for grant and aid requests, and that is showing on this slide right now. Various organizations ask for grants from the regional district. The board considers every one of them. You can press pause at this moment if you'd like to see more information and read the slide. These slides here show the full-time equivalent requests for either service level or for staff. It shows the areas that pay, and also shows how much the budgets would be affected over the 5 years. The slides that you're going to be reviewing now are slides that the board has authorized. So they looked at the business plan and have authorized the increases to be part of the budget that's been first reading. Again, as I go through these slides, you can press pause and look at them in more detail. This specific one has a large number and is for the engineering department, and mostly to help capital projects, but also smaller operational projects. And these are the last two. They're smaller ones, but they do have an impact on the budget. I thought you might find it interesting to show what's in the capital budget that actually will benefit the town of Oliver overall. This first one is for 911 emergency. It shows that there's two projects here, telecommunications and the Willowbrook 911. Capital project continued. This is for regional trails. Again, these are not funded from taxes at this point. They were at the point where the reserves were increased. The projects are either funded from reserves or they're funded from grants. Again, here's two more. Administration for the solid waste management plan. This is a carry forward from 2021. And this last one here is an area rehabilitation project, and it's for the arenas. So the next 4 slides do have to do with the Parks and Recreation. So this one's the arena, the Parks capital component of the budget, recreational hall. This slide here, I thought, again, you may find interesting, is a comparison of the budgets from 2021 to 2022. You'll see that they are fairly close. The anomalies are 7.2 million transferred from 2021 to 2022 for capital projects that were not completed and have to be carried forward. Also, composting is $8 million, which does skew the capital component. The major funding of that is grants. $1.6 million is the requisition that's at first reading, but I want to point out that $912,000 of that $1.6 million is to do with the Oliver and Area C Parks and Recreation Services, and that's just a partnership that we have, which is not something that would be common with all the municipalities or regional district electoral areas. Tax requisition has increased $73,159 over 2021. Which is a 4.7% tax increase, but once you take into account the non-market growth, it is actually 2.73% increase. This slide shows where the material variances that caused the increases for the tax requisition. If you press pause now, you will be able to look at it in more detail, and the far right-hand corner shows the reasoning for the increase. And then if there's a decrease, I'm also showing the decrease. This is a continuation, and in this case here, there was more than one page required to show the major differences. This is the Town of Oliver's tax requisition for services that the Town of Oliver participates in and pays their share based on the overall assessment. This slide here shows the portion of the services paid for the Parks and Recreation, It also shows for the services that Oliver and Area C are partnerships in. Again, on the recreational services, Area C is also a partner, and shows 2 other services that, although they're through our budget, the board directors do not have any control on the budget amounts. This is something that's just given to us, and we just forward it on to the taxpayer. This is a tax requisition for the municipalities. Thought you might find it interesting as a comparison from one municipality to another, and also the Penticton Indian Band. The next section is similar. It just shows the electoral areas, what the percentages are, and then also you can see what your non-market growth is for each of the different areas. Electoral I is highlighted twice, mostly because they have a new service in 2022, and that's the Apex Fire Department. So just a matter of showing the comparisons without the Apex to show what the actual tax increase would be. This is a comparison for property taxes as the valued properties, so it shows that from 500,000 to $1 million, the taxes based at first reading, and it also shows the different areas right up to electoral areas and Penticton Indian Band. This slide talks about the cost per capita. It shows where the different costs are for each of the electoral areas and municipalities. The more people you have, the more people benefit from the services that are provided. So it's something that I thought you might be interested in. This is just a straight pie graph that shows where everyone is in the regional district budget circle. And this is information where you can review the budget. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. The board is looking forward to receiving your feedback on Draft Budget 2022.